ॐ स्थापकाय च धर्मस्य सर्वधर्मस्वरूपिणे अवतारवरिष्ठाय रामकृष्णाय ते नमः. O Ramakrishna, the establisher of all religions, the embodiment of all religions, and the greatest of all incarnations, we salute thee. In the last lecture, that is the fourth one in the series, we learnt that the divine incarnation generally takes birth in a poor people's atmosphere, the common people's atmosphere, where he can come to know about the state of religion of the common people and also the sufferings of common people, and he will think out a way out of the suffering and of course the upliftment of the religion and culture. And we also learnt the description of Kamarpukur village of 1775 when the father of our hero Sri Ramakrishna was born. So 1775, how the village Kamarpukur, where Sri Ramakrishna is yet to take birth, it was like how it was. So that was told to us. And fourthly, we also learned story of the tyrant landlord Ramananda Roy, how he boosted out Khudiram from his homestead. Then also we learned the ancestry of Khudiram, his father Manikram Chatterjee, and Khudiram's first wife, she passed away. We learned that also. And then he remarried when he was 25 years old. And then Chandramani had given birth to two children at that time. Later on, she gives birth to another three children. So then we learned Khudiram coming and settling down at Kamarpukur. Earlier he was in the village Dere. Now he comes to Kamarpukur, where his friend Sukhlal Goswami welcomes him. At that time, Khudiram was 40-year-old and Ram Kumar, the elder son, was 10-year-old. Daughter was 4-year-old Katyayini. Then we found one or two divine incidents in the life of Khudiram. One was he found the stone emblem, Shalagram, of Raghuveer Ramchandra. So on one occasion, he found he was dreaming while taking a nap in the afternoon under a tree. Then he found this stone image of Raghuveer in a mysterious way. We learnt about that. Then we also learnt that Divine Mother Shitala herself was helping Khudiram while he was picking flowers for his puja. And then afterwards, when he was 69 years of age, so he thought he would go on a pilgrimage, and he went on the long pilgrimage to Rameshwaram. Rameshwaram, almost 2000 miles. He decided to go on foot and completed it. Today, we shall continue from this stage the same story from page 96. The life of the poor Kamarpukur family of Khudiram continued almost unchanged for another 8 years. Ramkumar was now making a living by interpreting the code of Hindu law, the Smritis. He used to interpret, and he was a Sanskrit scholar, and so he was making good earning and performing rituals also. The family, therefore, did not suffer from financial hardship as they had earlier. Ramkumar became expert in performing these rituals. It is said that he acquired supernatural powers to that effect. As a result of his high moral and spiritual life, he had become very drawn to the worship of the Divine Mother. And now, one day, while worshipping the goddess, his chosen deity, Ram Kumar, had a wonderful vision. In that vision, the goddess wrote on his tongue a mantra for the attainment of perfection in astrology. So, due to this power given by Mother, he could say, looking at any person suffering, he would say his suffering would leave him, or the illness would leave him, or he would succumb to the illness. Just looking at him, he used to tell the future prophecy. Therefore, he became very well known. Next, another one example of his divine powers. Once he went to Calcutta, and there a rich man and his wife, they came to Ganges for taking bath. And Ram Kumar was also taking bath in Ganges. As usual, men, women, all, they come and take bath in the open. And in the Ganges, the places where one has to go and get down stairs, etc., are there. So this lady, when she came, she did not come out of the palanquin in which she came. The people carried her whole palanquin into Ganga, and from inside the palanquin itself he took bath. It was very strange for Ram Kumar to see such a sight. And when he had a look from a distance at this rich lady, then immediately he whispered little loudly, the lady who is trying to protect herself from public gaze, tomorrow that she will be just thrown into this Ganges. That means tomorrow she is going to die. He just uttered this one without his own knowledge. Nearby, her husband was there. Then immediately he got upset. Then he asked Ram Kumar to come with him so that we shall verify what you have said is right or not. His intention was to humiliate Ram Kumar if it did not occur exactly as he had said. But next day, without any reason, this lady succumbed to death. And then she had to be just sacrificed into the waters of Ganga. So this is another power of Ram Kumar's that has been recorded in his life. Another example of Ram Kumar is a very important connecting with his life. His wife, who was not pregnant up to her 35th year, on 35th year, though they were married some 10, 15 years back, she suddenly became pregnant. Then Ram Kumar said, if she becomes pregnant, she will die. And people were all taken aback. Then it exactly happened. When she delivered a baby, male baby, and that boy was called Akshay. And after the birth of the baby, she passed away. So like this, one after another, people noticed the divine power in Ram Kumar's life. This might be the case with everybody in Khudiram's family. We shall now see in Chandra Devi, wife of Khudiram and father of Ram Kumar, mother of Ram Kumar, she also had several divine powers. So one of the powers is recorded here. It was the full moon night of October, mid-September to mid-October. It's called the month of Ashwin. So it was the full moon night. Then Ram Kumar, Chandra's son, she had gone to perform the Lakshmi Puja in the nearby village of Bhursubo. Bhursubo we have already heard while describing Kamarpukur and its topography. Bhursubo was a very nearby village. So he had gone there to worship, and Lakshmi Puja is done in the night. It was past midnight almost, and anxiously Chandra was waiting for him. At that time, she found a beautiful lady decorating herself with beautiful ornaments and other things. She came at the dead of night, and she was walking just in the direction of Chandramani. Chandramani was astounded to see a well dressed and a lady at night, dead of night, coming towards her. So she went near her and asked her, "So where are you? Where are you coming from? Where are you going?" Then she said, "I am coming from Bursubo." "Bursubo? My son has gone there to worship Lakshmi there." "Yes, it is from that very house I am coming," she said. She was Lakshmi herself. And then mother, she was so anxious about her son, she never sent a thought to think that she also coming from Bursubo, from the same house where his son has worshipped. She could have put the two facts together and concluded that she is Lakshmi whom her son has worshipped. She could think like that. She just went on asking her, "What is that ornament you are wearing in your ear?" This earring, it is called Kundala. Kundala is a Sanskrit word for earring. And then she requested the Lakshmi, saying, "Why don't you come? It's dead of night. Don't walk now. It is not safe to walk at this time to anywhere. Take rest here and then go." But Mother Lakshmi, so she was asking immediately as she was telling, "Oh yes, your son is coming. So he is coming, he will be in a very short time with you. I have to go very urgently." And she walked away. Therefore, so she had also divine power, Chandramani. In the case of the same incident has been reported by other biographers in a different way. Mother Lakshmi did not wanted to, was not invited by Chandramani. In fact, Mother Lakshmi wanted to visit her house. Then Chandramani said, "No, the house is all now dark, and then it is unattended, it is all in in all very scattered condition. Please don't come now." So she did not want Lakshmi to go. So it is another version. So anyway, the point is, Chandramani had also this spiritual power or extra power of seeing gods. So I am coming from there. So the mother herself said, Mother Lakshmi, and even then she did not understand. Only when she reported this one to her husband, he said, "Oh, it must be Lakshmi herself. Today is Kojagari Lakshmi Puja, the puja which your son has performed. So from there she was coming. She has given vision to you." So it was a tremendous spiritual vision. Then the women took leave of her. The woman, as she said, "I got urgent work." Lakshmi had left. So there was no way of Chandramani's husband going and checking up whether she was Lakshmi or not. She had already left and disappeared. It was again 1835. Khudiram wanted to make another pilgrimage. This time he wanted to make a pilgrimage to Gaya, a distance of 300 miles by foot. So he was ready to start. He was 60 years old at the time. He had no hesitation at all, even in that age, to walk the 300 miles. Hriday, the son of Khudiram's niece Hemangini, tells us the detail of this trip to Gaya, how he decided to go to Gaya of all the places. So the story goes, Khudiram went to see his daughter Katyayini in the nearby village of Anur. So when he met the daughter, then his daughter was possessed of a ghost. So the ghost was tormenting her. And Khudiram, being a very divine person, He was not afraid of ghosts. He knew also the power of ghosts and that he could command them to do whatever he wants. So as soon as he saw the spirit tormenting her, he told that spirit directly, leave her at once and go somewhere else. At this, the spirit became frightened and timidly answered through the lady who he was possessing. At this, you promise to perform rites and offer a pinda, obsequial cake, at Gaya, where you are going, to relieve me from this present suffering. The ghost itself was suffering. It has taken a ghost body because of some misdeed it has done. It wants to get out of this ghost body. So it is requesting Khudiram, you are going to Gaya, where whoever offers pinda, that is the ceremony, doing the offering of pinda, if you do that, everybody is released from the sins. So if you offer pinda for me, then I will be released from this body. So in return, now I will leave your daughter, she will have no problem. Then he said, yes, I agree, I will go to Gaya and offer pindam for you. As soon as he said it, then that ghost also promised, yes, I promise to leave your daughter right now. And then Khudiram asked also another question to her, the ghost, you please let us know when you leave your ghost body and attain to your normal body. So you please let us know that it has happened, because it is in a different world. How should we know? Then the ghost said, don't worry, when I attain to the new body, I will break this big tree. Margosa tree was there. One big branch will suddenly fall down. You will see, and you will know that I have been released. And it did happen. When Khudiram offered the pinda, then in his village, so the village of Anur, from the big tree of Margosa, a big branch suddenly fell down. Everybody came to know, concluded that the ghost had been released. So this is Khudiram's divine power we see now here. Such a good Khudiram came to Gaya. So it was the winter of 1835. So he went to Varanasi first, then from there to Gaya. They are staying for full 1 month. So there are so many rituals are to be done. So in that sacred place, pilgrimage of Gaya, then he went on performing one after another. For 1 month, he performed all the necessary rites. The devout Khudiram experienced untold satisfaction and peace as he was free from all anxiety about his ancestors. All of them had been helped through performing the rituals there. One night, he fell asleep, started dreaming. He saw himself again offering pindas to his ancestors at the holy feet of Lord Gadadhar in the temple. He has already actually offered. So in the dream again, he is offering the pindas, the sacred balls of rice, etc. So in the dream again he sees he is offering the same to the ancestors. He saw also his ancestors in their luminous celestial forms, joyfully accepting his offerings and blessing him. Then suddenly he found the whole temple was filled with a divine effulgence. Then he found that a luminous person seated graciously on a beautiful throne. This luminous person was none other than Lord Vishnu. Gaya is known for Gaya, Vishnu Gaya. So it is Lord Vishnu himself, God Vishnu himself, seated on the throne. And he saw that the complexion of this effulgent one was the green, the light green of a tender grass. So he has observed the dream so clearly that Vishnu has come, his color, his effulgence, etc. Then Vishnu beckoned Khudiram to come near him And then when he went near, then Vishnu told him, Khudiram, I am very pleased with you and your sincere devotion. I shall incarnate myself as your son and accept the loving service of you, and I will come to your cottage. As soon as he said it, listening to these amazing words, Khudiram said, No, no, my lord, I am not deserving of this favor. It is more than enough that you have blessed me by graciously revealing yourself and wishing to be born as my son. If you truly would be my own son, how could I, a poor man, be able to serve you? The divine being was even more pleased upon hearing Khudiram's plaintive words and said, Don't be afraid, Khudiram. Whatever you offer, I shall accept with satisfaction. Don't raise any objections to the fulfillment of my wish. At this, Khudiram was speechless. So, the divine dream would never become false. He had faith and he got up from the dream, but he could not forget the dream. It was very highly impressive. So he was thinking about the dream again and again. Then he left Gaya, came back to his village. Then in the village, the religious books of all people record that when the great saviors of the world are born, their parents experience extraordinary spiritual fervor and visions. This fact has been proven in the scriptures regarding the parents of Ramachandra, Krishna, Buddha, Jesus, Shankara, Chaitanya, and other great religious personalities. It is recorded in the Ramayana that the mothers of Ramchandra and his mother of Ramchandra and his three half brothers conceived by the other two wives of Dasharatha conceived them by eating a divine sacrament. They got it from the fire god himself. So we see this one recorded. Parents of Krishna had a vision of God endowed with 6 powers at the time of conception as well as immediately after his death, after his birth, In addition, it is recorded in the Bhagavata and other Puranas that Krishna's parents had various wonderful visions. When Buddha was conceived, his mother Maya Devi saw a supreme being enter her womb in the form of a luminous white elephant. That is why even today in Buddhist religion, elephant is a very, very sacred animal. Before Jesus was born, his mother Mary felt that she had become pregnant even though her marriage to Joseph had not been consummated. Shankara's mother realized that she had conceived a god himself, God Shiva, who appeared to her and granted her the boon of his birth in her. So this is all recorded. Chaitanya's mother also, Shashi Devi, had similar spiritual experiences which are recorded in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. So thus, we have seen that in all the great saviors of the world, so these divine visions taking place during the time of their birth, before the time of birth, sometime immediately after the time of their birth. We have already mentioned that Khudiram had a wonderful dream in Gaya. After returning home, he did not tell anyone about it, but silently observed its effect. First of all, he noticed that a wonderful change had come over Chandra Devi, his wife. He saw that Chandra had indeed been elevated from the human level, as it were, to the rank of a goddess. An all embracing love occupied her heart and raised her to a holy plane, lofty plane above the bustle of worldly desires. At that time, Chandra was more concerned about others' welfare, the needy neighbors, than about her own household. In between her household duties, she would often visit her neighbors and attend to their needs. If she found that they needed food, she would carry from her home food. She would, even at the last part of the day, she had to take food and retire. She would go to the neighbor's house and inquire whether all of them had their night food. They were all comfortable. If anyone said that he had not taken because for want of food, she would bring that person, feed him with the whatever food she was kept for herself, and she would go with some light refreshment. So this was the tremendous change. She was good, but she has become very, very, very good now. Chandra had always loved the neighbors and their children as her own. Now Kuduram observed that her motherly affection and it extended to the deities as well, different deities, family deity Raghuveer. She actually now started looking upon him as her own son. Earlier, she would be awestruck with in the presence of her family deity, but now she is to think that he is also my son. So that motherly affection was manifesting in a wonderful way. Khudiram realized that her unreserved devotion to God and joyful self surrender were making the simple hearted Chandra more liberal and guileless than ever. Chandra Devi had a divine dream. The simple hearted Chandra could not hide her thoughts from her husband. She often confided in her friends, and now she directly told him Khudiram returned home from Gaya. She went to him and then related her divine experience. She told him, listen, when you went to Gaya one night, I had a wonderful dream. I saw a luminous being lying on my bed. First, I thought it was you. Then I realized that no human could have that kind of beauty. When I awoke, however, I felt that the being was still in the bed. The next moment I thought, does a god appear to a human being like this? Then it occurred to me that perhaps a wicked person had entered the room with evil intent. So that very thought frightened her. And then she came out and she started telling few of her friends, very intimate friends. They all laughed at her and they warned her, don't tell this to anyone, it will become scandalous. Another day, she says, another day I was standing in front of the Yogi Shiva temple and talking with her servant maid, Dhani. Suddenly I saw a divine light emanating from the image of Shiva. It filled the temple and rushed towards me like a wave. Overwhelmed, I was about to tell Dhani about it, but suddenly the light engulfed me and entered my body. Stupefied with fear and wonder, I fell unconscious. Later, when I regained consciousness with Dhani's help, I told her my experience. At first she was amazed, but then she said, you must have had an epileptic fit. From then on, I have had the feeling that the light is still in my womb and that I am pregnant. So now Kudiram cautions her and then don't disclose it to anybody else, like the previous dream. Recalling his own dream at Gaya, Khudiram listened to Chandra's experiences and assured her that they were not the products of a disease, not the epileptic fit. He said, henceforth, do not speak about your visions or experiences to anyone except me, because other people do not accept and they will only say you had epileptic fits or something else. Do not worry, know for certain that whatever Raghuveer shows you out of his mercy is for your good alone. While I was in Gaya, a miraculous way, Gadadhar revealed to me that we would have another son. Chandra was heartened by the assurances of her godlike husband and did as he advised, depending fully on Raghuveer. 3 or 4 months after this conversation between Khudiram and Chandra, it became apparent to all that at the age of 45, Chandra had become pregnant again. During her pregnancy, Chandra's divine visions and spiritual experiences continued. It is said that during this time she would see gods and goddesses daily. Sometimes she would smell a divine fragrance that emanated from the bodies of these gods and goddesses. One day, the awestruck Chandra told her husband, "Listen, my dear, since I had the vision of light in, in front of the Shiva's temple, I have been having innumerable visions of different gods and goddesses. I have never seen some of their forms, even in pictures. Today, a god appeared once again as a god riding on a swan. At first, I was frightened. Then my heart melted as I saw his face had been scorched red by the sun. I called to him and said, "Oh, my little god, mounted on this swan, your face has become burnt by the sun. In my house, there is a there is some food, the stale food, the rice soaked in water overnight. Please have such that food, some of that food to cool yourself before you leave." A strange offer to a great god, and that god riding on swan. For all the traditional belief is Brahma himself. Brahma's vehicle is swan. So it was Brahma himself who creates the whole world, feeds the whole world. So she is offering stale food lying in her house to cool himself down. So strange, but it was the mother's request that son should not be scorched by the sun and she should keep quiet. Hearing my words, he smiled and vanished into air. I couldn't see him anymore. Likewise, I see so many forms. I see those divine forms not only during worship or meditation, but frequently in my normal state. Sometimes I see them coming in human form and then disappearing. So many vision of gods and goddesses she sees, again confirming the happenings in the previous avatars. In Krishna's avatar, you see so many gods, this very Brahma himself coming into the jail where Devaki and Vasudeva, they were left worrying for their life. And there the Lord appears. And first of all, the Brahma comes, then the other gods and goddesses come, then God himself as Krishna appears. So now, we come to the occurrence of the birth of the great soul, Sri Ramakrishna. One spring day, Chandra was cooking food for the Raghuveer, the deity in their house. She was nearing the end of her pregnancy and also she was experiencing celestial bliss. Physically, she was extremely exhausted. Suddenly, she realized that her physical condition was unpredictable. If the labor pains were to start right then, there would be none at home to prepare the Lord's offerings. What should be done? Alarmed, Chandra expressed her concerns to her husband. Then the husband assured her, saying, "Don't fear. He who is in your womb would never enter our home at a time when the worship of Raghuvir would be disturbed. This is my firm conviction." Therefore, she was also convinced, and she was again Khudiram, and I have made arrangement. Today you go to bed, nothing will happen today, and for tomorrow I'll keep one maid servant with you. She will be all through the day and night until your pregnancy, you deliver the baby. So she was satisfied, and they went to their beds. Apart from the shrine of Raghuvir, the household consisted of two huts and a kitchen. In another small thatched shed, there was a husking machine on one side and a wood burning stove for boiling rice on the other. Because there was no other place available for the delivery, this shed was reserved as the delivery room. About 12 minutes before dawn, Chandra Devi felt the first labor pain. Dhani immediately escorted her to the shed, and as soon as she lay down, she gave birth to a male child. After providing Chandra with the necessary help, Dhani turned her attention to the baby, but he had disappeared from where she had put him. Alarmed, Dhani took the lamp and looked around. She found that baby, who was covered with blood and pus, had slid over the floor and was lying in the wood burning stove. Fortunately, there was no fire inside it. It was all only ashes were there, and the child was besmeared with the ashes. Nevertheless, the baby did not cry. Dhani then carefully lifted him up, washed him, and saw in the light of the lamp a wonderfully handsome child who looked as if he were 6 months old. In the meantime, a few of Chandra's friends, including Prasanna and some other women of Laha family, had been summoned. When they arrived, Dhani told them the good news. At the auspicious and solemn moment before sunrise, Shudiram's humble, holy cottage reverberated with the sound of conch shells, proclaiming to the world the advent of a great soul. This is how Sri Ramakrishna takes birth and enters into the world. Being well versed in the scriptures, Khudiram checked the astrological signs of the newborn child and found that he had come into the world at a very, very auspicious moment. It was Wednesday, 6th Phalgun, 1242 in the Bengali era, or 1757 in the Shaka era, or Thursday, the 18th February, 1836 AD. This Thursday, some people say Wednesday, Wednesday, the 18th February. Some say it is Thursday, because the way we count the day, the Gregorian calendar counts the day starting at 12 o'clock in the night. The Indian calendar, they calculate the day starting at 6 o'clock a.m. in the morning. So it is because of the turn. So some people say it is Thursday, some people say it is Wednesday. The child was born 12 minutes before sunrise. The auspicious second lunar day of the bright fortnight, and the Purva Bhadrapada, the 25th of the lunar constellation, had joined at the time of his birth, which created Siddhi Yoga, a fortunate astrological conjunction. So all the aspects of astrology, they indicated that it was a very, very precious, very auspicious moment when Sri Ramakrishna has come to this earth. Later, some distinguished astrologers studied the time of his birth and then said to Khudiram that the child had been born during an auspicious arrangement of the planets. Astrological science decisively concludes such a person will be profoundly religious, highly respected, and will be always engaged in virtuous deeds. He will live in a temple surrounded by many disciples. He will establish a new religious order. He will be renowned all over the world as a great soul and will be worshipped by the people as a part of Narayana. Narayana, the supreme deity. Khudiram's mind was filled with wonder. He realized with gratitude that the divine dream he had experienced in Gaya had actually come true. After performing the proper birth rites, Khudiram named the child Shambhu Chandra according to his natal sign. But to commemorate his wonderful dream in Gaya, he decided to call the child Gadadhar. They used to call him very dearly Gadai, Gadai or Gadadhar. So the astrological predictions were literally proved true in his future life, which you will see. Gadadhar's childhood and the death of his father. In the scriptures, it has been recorded that before and after their children's birth, the parents of Rama, Krishna, and other divine incarnations had various spiritual visions. However, although they well knew that their sons were protected by the providence, parental affection caused them to forget this. And they worried about their children's care and upbringing. So, similarly, here also, the parents, Khudiram and Chandramani, they started worrying how to take best care of the children, child, Gadai or Gadadhar. So, this wonderful child had come into the world, adding joy not only to his family, joy to the whole village, and then we will see by and by joy to his country, to the whole world, and bringing in a new age of universal religion, universal peace, universal brotherhood, and universal good to everyone. So, we will continue this story in our next lecture. Till then, we will take leave. निरञ्जनं नित्यमनन्तरूपं भक्तानुकम्पाधृतविग्रहं वै ईशावतारं परमेशमीड्यं तं रामकृष्णं शिरसा नमामः. O Ramakrishna, of taintless, age changeless, infinite form, who has incarnated only to bless devotees and who is the adorable Supreme God Himself, we salute you, bending our heads.